Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
What a night it was. I think it was the greatest postseason baseball playoff game ever. We'll talk about the Guardians' big win and where they go from here. And, of course, the Cleveland Browns. Our buddy Sean King will be along to break down some of Deshaun Watson's play from last week. Bull.
I'm Adam the Bull. It is David Fry, the clutchest Indian/Guardian of all time. We'll get into that in today's show. G.
I am G. Bush, and I'm going to let you know headlines. I'm actually optimistic. I have no reason to be optimistic about the Browns, but for some reason, I am. We'll talk about it in the headlines later on. Jason.
I'm Jason Lloyd, and for all the goodwill and good feelings that came out of last night, are you concerned about Emmanuel Clase? I am. We're going to talk about it. Mikey.
Plus, Nick Chubb's back for the first time this season, and will his return to the field change how the Cleveland Browns run their offense? It hasn't worked so far, so sometimes change can be good. We'll talk about that, but we start with the home run heard around the world yesterday. Jay, David Fry did the unthinkable.
Yeah, it's not the first time he's done this for us. After an incredible first half of the season that landed him in the All-Star game, David Fry went on a huge slump. And now suddenly he's back to early regular season David Fry, coming up with perhaps, you could argue, two of the biggest hits within a week span in Guardians-Indians history. That has us asking, is he Cleveland baseball's most clutch performer ever?
No, I can't say that, guys. No.
I can't either.
We're getting swept up in the moment.
It was a good try.
Yeah.
But when I saw this question come out, I'm like, wait a minute, really?
I remember Albert Bell off Armando Benitez. Manny Ramirez had some
Shout out
tape
to
measure
Jay.
Andy
shots.
Alomar.
Jay threw that good old announcer on there, boy. His veteran of 30-plus years. He almost made me feel it. I almost
thought Jay was going to say yes.
You almost convinced us.
Best of all time.
But I'll tell you what, the Guardians, a team that got run out of the playoffs by the same Yankees 2 years ago in 2022 and in 2020. But in 2022, the biggest reason they couldn't compete with the Yankees in the end was they didn't have any power.
Yep, that was
They had no power. And look at the four biggest moments in this postseason, right? You have the David Fry home run against the Tigers, the Lane Thomas grand slam against the Tigers, the John Kenzie Noel home run last night against the Yankees, and then the Fry home run. All home runs.
Yep.
Big shots. The Guardians have hit a lot, a good amount of home runs in the playoffs, and many of them have been multiple run home runs.
We hit more than they did last night.
Yeah.
I told you, Bull, like we get caught up a lot, and why, rightfully so, because the Guardians have such tremendous pitching. This year happens to be the bullpen. We get caught up in it, and we give them a lot of praise, but in years past, the difference between the Guardians competing with the Yankees and some of the other teams is the fact that they could get runs on the board. And, to be able to get runs and hit a home run, you start with Noel. Guys, this is 2 outs. These are happening when you need them the most. 2 outs. He's able to hit a home run. David Fry, listen, he looks like he's locked in. And I was just watching the still shot of that. And Jay, it was a beautiful swing. You see the extension. You see his head right on the ball. Head doesn't move. He's able to pull his shoulders in and pull the ball. And I think, and I tweeted, they are single-handedly saving sports fandom in the city of Cleveland right now.
We needed that. We needed it.
Oh, yeah.
We had the numbers last year, the year before, about the correlation between home runs and postseason success. You cannot win in
Not
the
today.
postseason without home runs, without power.
And
you can't
And
do
here's
it.
what's stunning to me. I know Ramirez had the meaningless home run in Game 2, but for Manzardo,
Yeah, that was
John Kenzie Noel, David Fry, Lane Thomas.
Yep.
Those are the memorable home runs in these playoffs.
The names you aren't mentioning are the guys who carried them this year.
100%.
Yeah.
And so now just imagine this. At some point, the baseball is going to shrink for Brayan Rocchio, who hit a big home run. Like, at some point, these guys are going to revert to who they are.
Yeah.
if at some point we don't have the superstar emergence of Jose and Josh Naylor,
it's got to be there.
The run ends.
Yeah,
the run ends.
I would potentially, there's no way to prove this for sure, but I would maybe argue that what felt like a meaningless home run for Jose, and I don't want to give him too much credit because he hasn't played well, maybe it opened the door to because Luke Weaver, who doesn't have a big name, and didn't have a season that Emmanuel Clase had, but in the playoffs, he had been lights out before that home run by Ramirez. And he had pitched great for the Yankees down the stretch of the season. He'd been one of the better closers in baseball down the stretch. But because he hadn't done it for the whole year, most people didn't think about him. He's been the best closer in the playoffs. And maybe, just maybe, that Ramirez home run said to the Guardians, hey, we can hit this guy.
You can get to him.
Yeah,
and maybe it led to something yesterday. And now, as much as we're worried about Clase, and I get it, maybe
the Yankees have to
the Yankees
be a
should be
little bit
worried about
concerned.
Luke Weaver right now.
Oh, well, they are.
Yeah,
they are for sure. The one thing that I'm hoping happens, it's clear that Jose is trying to hit home runs because of what you said earlier. Well, you can't win in the postseason without home runs. And he's thinking, well, if I don't hit them, who's going to hit them?
Yeah.
Maybe now he can look back and say, the guys behind me have my back.
Yeah.
I can go back to being a doubles hitter and just stop trying to hit everything to the moon. Just make contact, get on base. I thought his at-bat in the ninth was a more Jose type at-bat. And then, obviously, he's doubled off on the double play from Naylor, and it looks like, well, that's over.
Right.
But he's got to revert to just being a contact guy. He doesn't have to hit everything over the wall.
I do think he's had more good at-bats in this postseason than Naylor has.
Naylor looks totally lost.
I don't think Ramirez is lost. I'm not saying he hasn't had some bad at-bats, but I don't think he's been lost. Like, he's made some good contact and gotten unlucky.
I mentioned on the YouTube show, Naylor has a lower OPS than Rocchio has batting average. That has to change.
And to your point, Rocchio and Kwan, neither one of those guys are trying to hit home runs. Rocchio did hit a home run in this series. Those guys are just making good, solid contact.
They are.
And they're finding holes.
Home runs happen.
Yeah.
They happen. Now, for John Kenzie, keep trying to hit home runs.
Right. Yeah.
You had said something on the YouTube show that really opened my eyes, something that I wasn't aware of. You said that 8 minutes after the game, Clase was out of there.
7
minutes after the game. I gave him too much credit.
Yeah.
How concerned, or are you concerned, about Emmanuel Clase the rest of this series?
I'm more concerned because he was leaving 7 minutes after the game. Had he handled himself like a normal post game, had he answered questions from reporters as standard, like when you're the closer and you blow it like that, you stand there and answer the questions. And that's not even so much for the media. That's the clubhouse protocol. The other players on your team expect you to do that and stand there and be accountable. He did not do that. He was out of the stadium 7 minutes after the game.
And what did he do when he got home?
He went home on Instagram and started showing videos of all of his rings and plaques and trophies. I'm very concerned about where he's at mentally right now because it's not just last night. It's the Kerry Carpenter home run that he gave up against Detroit. Now, he has had good moments in this postseason, yes. But when you give up, 5 runs all year, and you've already exceeded that in one postseason?
2 home runs all year,
he's given up 3.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
Are you concerned enough to move him out of the role of closer?
Because then I think you'll break him entirely.
Okay.
I mean, look, he has to remind himself, listen, everything is boiled down to the best on the best. Like, you're going to make certain pitches and certain hitters are going to hit. That's Aaron
right.
Judge. Giancarlo Stanton is not a bum. Like, you're playing against teams. The Tigers were a very scrappy team. So sometimes you're going to make a pitch and somebody's going to hit your best
That's
best
Aaron
pitch.
Judge last night.
Right? There it is.
This was a great pitch.
Look.
Cutter on the outside part of the plate, and a Hall of Fame player made a Hall of Fame play. That's all there is to it. But the pitch to Stanton was terrible.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, clean that up. Clean the pitch right here to Stanton.
That's
he hung it.
Nope.
And
he hung it.
He hung it, and he hit it a ton. But they're gonna need him. Somebody needs to talk to him, whether that's the catcher, whether that's the Stephen Vogt. Say, look, hey man, we understand that you when you come in, it's lights out. We need you to lock back in, though.
I am concerned about Clase. Like Jason, I agree. I'm not giving up on him in a big spot. It was extremely disappointing to hear from first Zach and then Jason about him leaving the clubhouse so quickly, not only for not being accountable for what you did, but the team won the game.
Absolutely.
You got to celebrate with your teammates.
Yeah.
Jose Ramirez and Naylor, I'm sure they were celebrating with their teammates.
Absolutely.
And they played like crap. So
An 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts is a great day at the park if your team wins.
That's right.
Yep.
And I think, to me, the most disappointing thing is this was of the non-celebration moments this year, the non-clinching moments, this was the epicenter game. This was it. And he was in his car 8 minutes after the last out was made.
Yeah.
You're right. The other guys in that clubhouse are looking at him going, hey, where's Emmanuel?
Yep.
Yeah.
Had he stood there, answered the questions, celebrated, I'd feel better about him.
Yeah, keep it moving.
And normally he is a stand-up guy.
And he did, when he
Very
blew it
strange.
against Detroit, he was right there. He
And then
answered
the
every
Instagram
question.
thing is really weird.
Yeah,
But-
so it's the
yeah.
actions after that have me more concerned than actually blowing the game.
Quick stat, before the game last night, Austin Hedges, Bo Naylor, John Kenzie Noel, and Will Brennan had combined for 2 hits the entire postseason. Last night, they were 4 for 5 with a walk, a homer, 3 runs, and 2 ribbies.
I don't
doesn't
care.
always-
I'm tired of Brennan and Schneeman in the lineup. I'm
Well,
tired of it.
I didn't mention Schneeman.
you said
You
Brennan.
mentioned Brennan.
Yeah.
Just throw it in there.
This is a David versus Goliath. The Yankees superstars are performing, and we're hanging with them because of our role players.
That's right.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
We're taking a break. When we come back, it's one of our favorite things to do each and every Friday on our show. Our quarterback whisperer, Sean King, grading Deshaun Watson's play from last week. It's a film breakdown every Browns fan needs to see.
Are in trouble, obviously.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We do it every Friday here at WKYC. Sean King, former Super Bowl member of the Indianapolis Colts, won a Super Bowl, played for the Buccaneers. He breaks down our quarterback. Here's his breakdown of Deshaun Watson.
I was probably one of the few people that thought the Browns did some good things against the Eagles offensively. I think the offensive line played much better, run block and pass protection. You know, I thought there were times when you could see the explosive parts of the scheme start to, become evident. Here's something that I think is another subtle adjustment that the Browns can make to make them better. So right here, a lot of people look at this, probably a bad decision on the throw by Deshaun. But what I want you to do is look at the difference in timing between the play action shotgun stuff versus the under center play action passing. If you can run it from here. Now, I know the snap's a little high to the right, but watch, it doesn't really time up right. You see how Deshaun's at the top of that drop and he's already feeling late throwing this ball to Judy? It's because that mesh point just didn't match up from a timing standpoint. Now, if we can switch it over to in the fourth quarter where they went under center, and watch how this one times up so much better on a big play. See how he's at the top of his drop now? And it's just the spacing. It gives those wide receivers enough time to get their routes to different parts of the field. It clears up the viewpoint for the quarterback. It just works out so much better when you play action pass under center as opposed to in the shotgun. Maybe it's something that Coach Stefanski and Ken Dorsey can look at implementing more as we move forward. First of all, you when you have big body wide receivers on your team like Amari Cooper, and I know it's a moot point now because, of course, Cooper has been traded to Buffalo, but this is where they should excel, and that's contested catches. I thought what Amari did much better in the Eagle game than he did earlier in the year versus the Commanders was he was more patient at the line of scrimmage. Now, I still don't like the fact that Deshaun's eyes immediately go to Amari on the slant because that makes it even a tighter throw because that play side safety does kind of get involved, but it's such an accurate and firm ball, it doesn't matter. So if you can roll it from here, this is one of those plays where, it's just NFL caliber players doing NFL caliber things. That's great defense, positioning, spacing by the Eagles defense, but just a better throw and route and catch by Deshaun and Cooper. And I know Cooper isn't there anymore, but that ball location, that confidence that Deshaun threw this ball with, and it wasn't perfect protection. The right tackle actually gives up early protection. You see great inside move there. Somebody's in his face. Deshaun's just got to find that ability to consistently do this. Cleveland's in an empty set, meaning there's no back in the backfield. Philly looks like they're rushing 5. So really it's going to be cover 0 to the side that the safety doesn't decide to move towards. So if you see the safety that's right there on the goal line, if you want to highlight him, if I'm Deshaun, my eyes are directly on him on the snap. If he moves over to this 3-man surface, then I'm probably going to go weak. If he stays weak and it looks like that's Amari Cooper, so they're going to bracket him, then I think you got to go through your progressions as you come back front side, meaning that you start with Tillman, you get to Njoku, you end up on Judy if none of the two are open. But again, your big-time players got to make big-time plays, right, and big-time moments in games. So you can't really fault Deshaun for going to one of the top 10 tight ends in football in David Njoku. So if you want to run it here, and then I'll have you pause it here in a second. So right there on the snap, pause it. So the safety's already chosen. He's going to the two-man surface. So if I was coaching Deshaun, what I would tell him was let's not bypass success, right? I know we want to, and we like the matchup on Njoku, but let's make sure that Tillman don't win initially like he does, and we don't pass up an easy pitch and catch for what, we don't know really what lies to the left. But I get the thinking going to your better player here, and I just think Njoku's too quick on his route. Like, he's got to get a little more vertical before he decides to break that in cut, so this isn't such a contested ball.
Even if Njoku catches that, he's going to have to break 2 tackles to make 5 yards for a touchdown. So that seemed a little, I don't want to say.
You can pause it right there and go back. I just want to make sure that everybody watching understands what I'm saying, those of you that are coaching young quarterbacks. So when that ball snapped right there, that safety is going to the two-man surface, right? So I know I have cover 0 to the field. So what you don't want to do at quarterback is bypass completions, right? I get matchups, but right here, because the safety went weak, that's a pretty easy completion right there to Tillman if he puts that ball a yard in front of his face mask. So you can't really fault Deshaun because Njoku is like one of their big dogs, but as you're coaching your quarterbacks, you just make sure that they don't bypass completions in order to get the matchups.
Well, once again, takes it to a graduate level instead of 101. My takeaway is what we thought all along. The offense is better when he's under center and they're play faking, particularly on the open throw to Judy, which was, I think, one of his bigger throws on Sunday. Jason, while we were watching it, I asked you a question. Are we going to get to a point this year where I think the biggest defactor, the biggest guy that's keeping us from going to that is Deshaun Watson? Yeah. Are we going to get to a point where he's looking at film and it hits him and he says, oh, wow, this offense is better when I'm under center?
No.
Why?
It would have happened last year. We talked about it. All the proof last year was when Joe Flacco came in and ran this offense of how this offense is supposed to look.
Isn't Deshaun saying, but I'm not Joe Flacco. I've got guys
But
who
it
do
doesn't
things
matter
he can't.
because he was in that offense. He was in that offense, and he wasn't comfortable under center, and he wanted to be in shotgun. So nothing has changed as far as that goes.
But he doesn't like sucking.
This is.
You know what? We've blamed Watson for everything, deservedly so. Stefanski's the coach.
Yeah.
It's his decision. And if it's not, then that's on him.
I agree.
Suck it. Let's go. Suck it up.
I agree with that.
Come on, coach.
The under center play action offense has thrived here since he got here.
Yeah.
That's his system. Baker ran it great. Like when Baker had success here, it was play action. It was off. Go look at the numbers when Baker was running off play action. Same with last year with whoever the quarterback was. He is a play action coach. It is a play action system. The talent outside of the quarterback, the talent on this offense is built. How many times have we said this? For heavy looks up front, establish the run, play action deep shots on third down. That's how this team is built.
Something has to give. Like at the end of the day, it's nice to ask players what they want to do and what they're comfortable with. But when the rubber hits the road, I'm going to make this decision based on not what's best for Deshaun Watson. I'm going to make the decision based on us winning football games. They have not done enough of it. You're 1-5. If that is what's successful, and if Deshaun Watson doesn't understand that, I had to have a conversation with him.
Right.
Football,
there's 52 other guys.
That's right.
Football isn't based on looking good a certain way. It's
right.
about winning games the best way.
And right now they're running a system for one guy.
Yeah,
and
it's not working.
And the talent and skill doesn't fit anything but that one guy.
And by the way, his skill set isn't working.
And if he can't do it, then play someone who can.
And it's historically bad, not just bad against the other 31 quarterbacks. Yeah. It's historically bad, going back decades in the NFL. You said something's got to give. There will be one thing that changes dramatically about the Browns' offense Sunday, aside from the fact that they don't have Amari Cooper. Nick Chubb's back.
So 2 things.
How does that change the offense?
Well,
I think it changes it dramatically because now you have a guy back there that you have to respect. You have to put an extra guy in the box. Nick Chubb is also going to lift up the guys in the energy level because there's been some plays that we watch. Guys aren't giving full effort. Guys don't have energy, it seems. There is no way that you can see what Nick Chubb did and you just read his letter in the Players Tribune. You just understand what he has gone through to get back. So my thing is they're going to be excited. They're going to have a little bit more pep in the step, and they're going to try to finish blocks. So they should get a little boost in this game because Nick Chubb is back. It helps you emotionally, physically, and spiritually in a game like this against the Bengals.
I have no idea what condition Nick Chubb is in, what shape his knee's in. I have no idea if he's the same player. I don't know. I really don't know.
Has anyone worked harder to come back?
Oh, of course not. But my point is, I know what kind of emotional lift he's going to bring, and I know how much of an emotional lift the rest of those guys in that locker room are counting on him to bring. Whether that's fair or not to him, they're looking at him as, you got to give us something good here, buddy. Like, we are down. The whole thing is down right now. Like, give us some sort of reason to believe we can still pull out of this. And I don't know how many carries he's going to get. I don't know if he's still the same guy that he was before, but I do know what type of emotional spark and jumpstart he can give this team.
The rest of the running backs on this team are at best Jags. At best. Nick Chubb is special. Is he still physically special, or is he at this moment? We'll find out on the field. But going into the game, the Bengals are going to play it as if they assume he's still a special guy. They have to. Beyond the emotional lift, which you're right, that obviously will make a difference.
I'm not sure there's an emotional lift any NFL team can get with the return of a non-quarterback than what the Browns are going to experience Sunday. We'll tell you how it ends. It's our pre-written headline segment. There are some surprises this week. That's after the break. Welcome back. It's time for our picks. The Browns, the Bengals. We do it in the form of pre-written headlines. Bull. No, G, you're first.
Yeah, y'all had to put me first because this was a surprise. I have no reason to pick the Browns in this game, but for some reason, I don't know why I did. I got the Browns winning this football game. Get an unexpected win. Chubb turns early boos into late cheers. I think the Browns may get off to a start where they're throwing the ball too much, but Nick Chubb comes in the game, rushes for a touchdown in this game, and he makes us all forget about our terrible offense. I got the Browns winning this game.
Bull.
I do not have the Browns winning this game. I have the Bengals winning for the first time in Cleveland in 7 years. Wow. That is unbelievable. Dominance no more. Stefanski's magic first Bengals is over after 31-10 beatdown.
That is the logical, conventional wisdom.
It hasn't been logical in this series lately.
But when have the Browns been conventional or logical?
No.
They haven't. And I'm doing something completely illogical, which at 4 o'clock on Sunday I'll regret. But Batman's light shines over Cleveland. Nick Chubb is back. The lift that this team is going to get is immeasurable. I don't know who's going to catch passes. I really don't. And I know that Cincinnati's got a great offense and we've got to win in a shootout, but I'm picking the Browns 24-21. I'll probably hate this at 4 o'clock.
You're a better man than I am. I am not picking them again until I have any sort of reason to. Booze Cruise. Angry fans leave early. And 24-13 lost to Bengals. I have no interest in picking the Browns to win a game the rest of the year until they prove that they can actually win a game.
Is that like the Bengals Booze Cruise? Or no, that was the Vikings. I'm sorry, the Vikings.
Dustin was on that team, by the way, but he was not on the boat.
So he says.
Yeah, it's true.
And by the way, that Booze Cruise could have been on on OnlyFans. Not Angry Fans,
but
100%.
Angry Fans, is that a new one? We're basing it right here in Cleveland.
Right.
Yeah. I think you're onto something. Right. Angry Fans. You just go on and you vent.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
2 picks for the Browns, 2 picks for the Bengals, which means I'm the tiebreaker, and I'm going with the Bengals. I had heroic return, falls short. Batman can save Gotham, but not the Browns offense as Cleveland falls to 1-6. But not the only game we have going on this weekend. Game 4 tonight, guys. Who wins, Guardians or Yankees?
I'm going Guards. I like the matchup.
I got the Guards 5-2.
Oh, wow.
Counting on Gavin Williams for a big start. Give me Cleveland.
Jose is going to hit a big home run tonight. Guardians win it 6-3.
This one could be the highest scoring game of the series.
Yeah.
It's got the makings
Well,
of it.
they scored 12 last night. That was a lot.
In the next less than 72 hours in Cleveland, really about the next 55 hours, you've got Game 4 of the ALCS, Game 5 of the ALCS. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction takes place Saturday, tomorrow night at Rocket Mortgage Field House, and then Sunday you've got the Browns and the Bengals. Is there a better time to live in Cleveland and be a fan of big events?
It's going to be a great weekend, hopefully.
Yeah, it sets up to be a great weekend. Yeah. Go Guards, go Browns, enjoy your weekend. We're going to have post-game shows to recap these, correct, Mike? And, of course, we're back Monday to put a bow on all of it on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Have a great weekend.
Peace.